You're rushing through the airport, coffee in one hand, boarding pass in the other. The TSA agent glances at your driver's license and frowns. "I'm sorry, but this ID isn't valid for flying anymore." Your stomach drops as you watch other travelers move past you. This exact scene will play out thousands of times across America starting May 7th, 2025. That's when the final Real ID deadline hits, and it's going to catch millions of travelers by surprise. The Department of Homeland Security has pushed back this deadline 4 times already, but they're firm that 2025 is it. No more extensions. What's happening is simple. Your regular driver's license won't work for domestic flights anymore. You'll need either a Real ID compliant license, a passport, or another approved federal ID just to get past security for a flight within the US. How do you know if your license is Real ID compliant? Look for a star in the upper corner. Most have a black or gold star, though some states like Hawaii and Ohio use a gold circle with a white star inside. No star? Then you can't fly with it after the deadline. California's Real IDs have a bear with a star, while Washington states have a small tree symbol instead. The scary part? Nearly 40% of Americans still don't have a Real ID. That's over 100 million people who will be turned away at airport security next year if they don't update their license. A survey from the U.S. Travel Association found that 57% of Americans don't even know about this major change. What happens if you show up with your old ID after May 7? TSA agents won't bend the rules. You simply won't fly that day. Imagine missing your vacation, important business meeting, or family event because of an ID issue. One missed flight can cost hundreds or even thousands of dollars in new bookings, hotel changes, and other travel expenses. Getting a Real ID isn't as simple as stopping by the DMV either. You need to bring multiple documents, proof of identity, like a birth certificate, proof of social security number, and 2 documents proving your address. Most people wait until the last minute, creating massive DMV lines as the deadline approaches. Last time there was a Real ID rush, wait times in some states reach 5 hours. Think your current ID is good enough for flying? The shocking truth about what happens at security might change your travel plans completely. Remember when getting a passport was straightforward? Those days are gone. Right now, standard passport processing times have hit historic highs, 12 to 18 weeks from application to delivery. That's up to 4.5 months of waiting, more than double the time it took in 2019. Even if you pay the extra $60 for expedited service, you're still looking at 8 to 12 weeks. The State Department is drowning in applications, processing over 400,000 passports weekly, and they simply can't keep up. Passport photo rejections are through the roof too. The rules got much stricter in January 2025 when new biometric scanning requirements kicked in. Your eyes must be perfectly open, your expression neutral, and your face centered exactly in the frame with a specific measurement from chin to crown. One family in Denver had their application delayed 2 months because their 3-year-old wasn't looking directly at the camera. Even professional photographers are getting it wrong, with nearly 30% of submitted photos now rejected. Then there's the 6-month rule that's tripping up thousands of travelers. Many countries won't let you enter if your passport expires within 6 months of your trip, even if you'll be back home long before it expires. A woman from Seattle learned this the hard way in March 2025 when she was denied boarding for her flight to Thailand. Her passport was valid for another 4 months, but Thai immigration requires 6. She lost $3,200 in non-refundable bookings. The confusion between passport books and cards is causing major headaches too. Passport cards are cheaper, $65 compared to $165 for a book, but they only work for land and sea travel to Canada, Mexico, and the Caribbean. They're useless for international flights. Yet nearly 50,000 Americans show up at airports each year trying to use these cards for international air travel, only to be turned away. Application fees jumped again in 2025. A new adult passport now costs $180, up from $130 in 2023. Add in the execution fee, 35 terms, expedited processing, 60, and faster delivery, 18 more and 32, and you're looking at nearly $300 for a single passport. Families with multiple children can easily spend over $1,000 just on passport fees. Think your valid passport means you're good to go. Wait until you hear about the new rule that's turning away thousands at foreign borders. The TSA proudly announced their mobile ID program in 2023, promising a future where you could breeze through security with just your phone. Leave your physical ID at home, they said. But 2 years later, this digital dream has turned into a nightmare for many travelers. The program is still only available at 25 out of 430 U.S. airports. Major hubs like Chicago O'Hare, Miami International, and Boston Logan aren't on the list yet. Imagine setting up your digital ID only to find out it doesn't work at your departure airport. Even where it is available, the technical requirements are tripping people up. Your phone needs the latest operating system, at least iOS 16 or Android 9. Nearly 40% of Americans have phones too old to use mobile ID, and if your battery dies, you're out of luck. A businessman from Atlanta missed his flight in July when his phone died at security. He had no physical backup ID, and TSA wouldn't let him board. International compatibility is another major issue. Digital IDs issued in the U.S. don't work in most other countries. A group of college students learned this the hard way during spring break 2025. They sailed through TSA security using mobile ID, but when they tried to enter bars in Cancun, their digital IDs were rejected. Mexican authorities only accept physical identification. The rejection rate for mobile ID at TSA checkpoints is concerning too. About 1 in 15 attempts fail due to technical glitches. That's nearly 7% of travelers having to pull out their physical ID anyway, often after holding up the security line. During peak holiday travel in December 2024, these failures caused delays of up to 45 minutes at some checkpoints. Privacy experts are raising alarms as well. When you use mobile ID, your travel history, identity information, and biometric data are stored on central servers. A cybersecurity professor from MIT warns that this creates a rich target for hackers. In March 2025, a similar system in Australia suffered a breach that exposed the data of 320,000 travelers. The system also struggles with name mismatches between your ID and ticket. If your ID says Robert but your ticket says Bob, the digital system often fails where a human agent would understand. A survey of TSA agents found that 82% still prefer checking physical IDs because they can use their judgment for minor discrepancies. Ready to trust your travel plans to a digital ID? Before you ditch your physical documents, you need to know about this major security gap. The clock is ticking toward May 7, 2025, and you need to act now to protect your travel plans. Start with your state-issued ID. If you don't see a star in the corner, head to your DMV website immediately to schedule a real ID appointment. Don't wait. DMV waiting times in California already hit 3 months for real ID appointments in early 2025. Bring originals of your birth certificate, social security card, and 2 proofs of address like utility bills or bank statements. Make copies of everything before you go. For passports, check the expiration date right now. If it expires any time in the next year, start the renewal process today. The safest approach? Allow at least 18 weeks for standard processing. That's 4.5 months. Got international travel coming up? Add 6 months to your passport's expiration date. That's your real can't travel after date for most countries. Japan, Thailand, and most European nations enforce this 6-month rule strictly. When taking passport photos, skip the home attempts. Use a professional service that guarantees acceptance and follows the latest requirements. The new rules require your head to measure between 1 inch and 1/3/8 inches from chin to crown in the photo. Your background must be pure white, with no shadows or patterns. Even professional photographers get this wrong, so ask specifically for 2025 compliant passport photos. Keep multiple forms of backup ID when traveling. A teacher from Boston nearly missed her cruise in February when she arrived with only her mobile ID, which the port security couldn't verify. Smart travelers now carry at least three forms of ID: their real ID or passport, a backup like a passport card, and a digital copy stored in their phone. Create a travel document checklist and review it a week before any trip. Passport and visa? Check. Real ID for domestic flights? Check. International driver's permit for rental cars abroad? Check. The most prepared travelers use the State Department's new document verification tool at travel.state.gov, http://travel.state.gov, which confirms if your documents meet the requirements for specific countries. For families, remember that children need passports too, even infants. The good news is that real ID requirements don't apply to travelers under 18 as long as they're traveling with a compliant adult. But for international travel, everyone needs a passport regardless of age. Finally, sign up for automatic alerts from both the TSA and State Department. These will notify you about changing requirements that might affect your specific travel plans. The rules keep shifting. In July 2025, 12 more countries are joining the 6-month passport validity requirement list. Unless you're on those alert lists, you might not hear about it until it's too late. Check your documents now, because the last place you want to discover they're invalid is at the airport security line.